Greetings, everyone. This is our Odyssey template for 2016 to submit our lesson plans. At the top, this reads OMS. However, it's basically the same plan that we will be using in elementary and in high school. So I just want to talk you through it briefly. And if you have any concerns or questions, then you can certainly follow up with Jeff or with your specific division director. So at the top, that's pretty straightforward there. Teacher and the content area, the subject you teach, and the grade level. And then there's just some curriculum links and guidelines embedded under unit planning. The first link takes you to the Odyssey page with that skeleton of each grade level's content area. And then over here we have a link to the Georgia Standards of Excellence, which of course drives public education more so than the independent schools. And then we have a link to the International Society for Technology and Education, because we're certainly focusing more on STEM and integrating technology and 21st century skills. That's just a good guide or resource to pay attention to. Down here, curriculum guide links takes you again to the Odyssey portal, and then we'll talk more about this later in a separate video, but this will be how you can submit your lesson plans once you finish doing them for each week or the unit. So here, this first part, the macro calendar, it's just a general guideline for what you hope to accomplish each week in each day. So here, for example, 6th grade ELA, I might have simply put introduction to the class, opportunity for students to discuss where they're from. Kids will write a poem, and just something very generic. However, when I click here on this hyperlink for week 1, it takes me to my weekly plan, and this is where I can be more elaborate and provide more detail about what's going to go on. So these guiding questions, thoughts, or concerns here on the left are exactly the same as they were last year in our template that Bob shared with us. It was a Google spreadsheet or a Microsoft spreadsheet, one or the other. But it's the same information, so if you're able to access that from last year, or if you want to contact Carissa or me to get it, then we can provide it, and you can simply use that as a guideline, maybe even copy and paste those things in there, tweak the things that you need to tweak based on the changes you might be making this year. So this is just a section for you to be very reflective about the aims, the goals, and the objectives of the course. Students will be able to use their learning too. Students will understand that. Students will know. Students will be skilled at. And then what are the evaluative criteria you will be using to assess student progress? And we talked a little bit last year about designing with the end in mind, but I'm not sure that we are always so deliberate in looking at how we're going to assess students up front, as that whole model suggests that we should. So here I dropped this down a little bit and put it beneath the daily tracking of the types of assessments you will give each particular week. So going back to my example before with language arts, here I might say students will create a poem that demonstrates their understanding of descriptive language and words and imagery to help us clearly understand where they're from. And then what is the starter or activator? Well, in my case, it might have been a journal prompt or a question that I asked them. And then down here to the mini lesson, how do I guide the kids and give them the support that they need to really make sure that they master the objective for that day? Now, in each grade level, I know that we have goals, reading goals, and we actually use that as part of our SMART objectives for us to share with our stakeholders. So I don't know how each particular grade level has handled it in the past, but in 6th grade, we had drop everything and read every day. But here in this section, you might connect what you're doing in your specific content areas to those reading initiatives that you're doing as a team, and draw some connections here and what literacy strategies that you're doing. This section, obviously, we'll talk about what the kids are doing, and that's the heart of the lesson every day. What are the kids doing in your class each and every day to show how creative they are, innovative they are, and how they're mastering those skills that you're trying to help them to master. Here, personalization and differentiation. I'm hoping that we're moving in this direction even more so this year with Odyssey, as we really try to assess our kids' skills and interests and needs, so that we can better meet them and better propel them to the next level of their interests and their goals. So that's just an opportunity here to reflect on what you can provide or how you can structure the lesson in such a way that it's really focused on the students and their needs and their interests. And then the closing, how will kids demonstrate that they've mastered the skills that day? Will there be opportunities for them to share their work or to discuss things and talk in peer groups or in pairs to disclose what they did for that day? And then here under the reflections piece, how did the lesson go from your standpoint? What did you do that you think worked well? What did the students do that worked well? What might you consider altering or doing differently the next time? And so that just repeats week after week for each of the 6 weeks. And once you get to the bottom of the plan, you will see here a link that says submit plan via link above. So once again, you click on this, takes you back to the top, and you will click on your prospective designated division, elementary, middle, or high school, to submit your lessons. Now, one of the things that we're going to make sure that we do as well is to create a folder in Google Drive, a shared folder, so that everyone will be able to see everyone else's work. That's just good professional learning. That's just having a great sense of network. That's just making sure that we're all focused on the primary goals and mission of Odyssey, and that there's this transparency that helps us to continue to grow as a staff by really communicating effectively and sharing resources with each other. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm truly looking forward to this summer being very engaging and really helping us to move our kids forward in the right direction, and to give them some inspiring opportunities for not only learning but for also being teachers themselves.